What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 17 of Thinktwice, a weekly show where we talk about things going on in the world of Magic the Gathering, gaming, and pop culture. As always, I'm your host, Justin Parnell, joined by my co-host, Aintrazi, and this week we're going to be talking about the fallout from Pro Tour Ixlalan, specifically if energy was a mistake, the best gear in Magic, and Stranger Things Season 2. So, Ali, before we get into the Pro Tour from the past week, why don't we catch up from last week? All right. How'd your weekend go?
My weekend went pretty well. I had to last minute qualify for the Hex 5K.
And how do you do that?
To qualify for that, it takes the top 64 players in Standard, and then the top 64 players in Limited. And with those two, so it takes 128 players total, and then those players get qualified for the Hex 5K.
So what if you're in the top 64 in both Standard and Limited?
Then you are denying one person a spot.
Wow, so they don't pass down, you suck up two spots?
They do not pass down. They do indeed just suck up two spots. Though it is kind of hard to like...
Yeah, because you got to devote a lot of time, so you'd have to really be balling to be able to...
And I think you actually have to be trying to do that. I'm not sure who would want to do that, but I know someone has.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's probably... I'm sure it's 126 or 127 people total.
Yeah, you don't necessarily get anything for it. But anyways, the tournament structure is, since you have limited and standard players qualifying, the Swiss rounds are all constructed, and the top 8 is draft.
And you've done a few of these, and I know you always do well in the constructed portion.
Yes, yeah, I always do decent or well in constructed, but I've always lost in the quarterfinals in the top 8
because it's limited.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like, I don't think I'm that bad at limited.
Sure,
it's
you just lose all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's no correlation.
Hey, I've qualified for more Pro Tours off limited than I have.
That is true. That is true in Magic. That is true. I can agree with that. Well, you've qualified through PTQs more in limited than Magic, more in limited than constructed, not necessarily total.
Yeah. Well, I've been top 8 with top 8 their limited events, their sealed limited events in Hex, but I've also lost in the quarterfinals when it comes to drafting. It's weird. I don't know. I don't think I'm...
Maybe you're scared of the quarterfinals.
Or maybe I just overanalyze when drafting. I'm like, I stay away from the best color because I'm too scared that someone else is drafting it, or... I don't think I misread signals. I think it's just... or maybe I commit too early. I don't know. I'm sure, obviously there's something wrong. Like, I mean, it's not like I'm just getting unlucky. I'm definitely doing something wrong.
Well, there's always room for improvement. It's tough though when you're practicing for a dual format thing because you put so much eggs into one basket. I mean, I'm sure the people that get in their top 64, qualified top 64 from limited, ultimately are better off. There's probably less of those people that make it to the top 8, but obviously I bet those people have a higher win percentage for those tournaments. You know, because even if you have like 1 or 2 people that get into top 8 that were the limited specialists, I bet their finish is much better within the top 8.
Yeah, I imagine so too. Yeah. They just have I guess they just need to find a good deck. Like, I imagine it's easier to win if you're a limited specialist than you are a constructed specialist. It's much easier to find a good deck that has performed well throughout the season.
Yeah, because you don't need, because you're not trying to metagame, you're just trying to find a consistent deck that you feel like you can make it to the elimination rounds.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas I am trying to find a metagame deck.
You're trying to break the tournament open, which is good because I think that lands you in top 8s a lot, but it doesn't help you win, unfortunately, based on how the tournaments are set up.
Yeah. Right, that is true. What about you? So what did you do last week?
I played a bunch of Pokemon Go. It's always nice. Yeah. Well, it's just on Saturday, I guess. I played Pokemon Go on Saturday.
Did you catch? I can't pronounce this dog's name. The beast's name.
I think so.
Swine.
Actually, my girlfriend and I were out on Tuesday, like in the late afternoon after work. This was on Halloween, like before we went trick or treating with her son, her 10-year-old son Levi. And we were there was a 5K raid egg, not a 5K, a level 5 raid egg hatching.
A level 5 raid egg.
And we were playing on the day when they switched over from Raikou to Entei. Because it actually happened on the last day of September rather than the first day of October. And we were like, let's just wait around and see if this, because like this was what happened last time, to see if this is the new Suicune. And it was.
Yeah.
So we actually got to catch one on Tuesday. But we played like a bunch of raids. I think we each caught like 3 more out of like 4 or 5 raids.
Oh, really? Yeah. I actually was going to Smoothie King, and the Smoothie King near my house is a gym, so I just pulled my phone up. Happened to be. By the way, that gym is gold. I have that gym in gold.
You do? You have that one in gold?
Yeah, I go there too often.
Yeah.
So I pull it up, and it's a Suicune, and I just went around, and then obviously people show up, and we take it down. I catch it with my first throw.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I threw a curveball. It wasn't a nice, great, or perfect.
You just
whatever,
hit it. You thought it was just going to pop
I
out.
caught it. Yeah, absolutely. And I just caught it. And to be fair, it wasn't like the top tier one, like a Wonder for Mystic. I'm not sure what it's for others, but
we're both
it was
Mystic,
like this. So. Yeah, it was like the second. It was like second from top. So it was still nice though. Just add the Pokedex, which is basically almost all I wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. It's worse than Vaporeon, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
It's by a pretty good margin, I think. Which is kind of crazy.
I think it's because not to derail what you're saying, but it's probably because I think I've heard about that. It's because of its like quick attack. It has some like bubble beam or something really bad.
Bubble beam is one of its charge attacks.
Okay.
Which is really glacial. See, the thing is, it would be an excellent defender, but you can't use it to defend gems.
Yeah, defending is...
Yeah.
The whole battle system is weird, too.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully that continues to evolve, because I think... Yeah. I think we need somewhere in between the old system and the new system, but we can get into that later.
Yep.
But, you and I were talking over the weekend about the new raid bosses. And I never got to explain my thinking on those. And actually, because I was talking to my girlfriend Meredith about this, and afterwards I saw a post on Reddit that someone had a similar theory. Because it looks like all the new raid bosses are poopy. Because they're all from like the first generation for the most part. And it's like Victory Bell and Poliwrath and Nidoking, Nidoqueen, Ninetales, Scyther, Golem, Magneton, Cloyster.
Don't we get Magnezone in Gen 3 though?
I think it's Gen 4.
Okay, never mind.
But it's like, man, all these Pokemon look like they suck. So what I actually think is going to happen is I think these raid bosses are directly tied to Generation 3. Obviously, as they continue to release more Pokemon in Pokemon Go, the spawn rate for each individual Pokemon has to go down, right? Because there's just more. Unless they just increase the spawns across the board, percentages for each of them have to go down. So what I actually think they're going to do is significantly decrease the percentages for the initial forms of these new raid bosses. So you have like Nidoking, Nidoqueen, so both of the Nidorans, Geodude, Cloyster, etc. Right?
All spawnless?
Not spawnless, but I think they're going to get very rare. So they can make room to have Generation 2 and Generation 3 Pokemon become more common. So Pokedex wise, all you have to do is catch a small number of these Pokemon from Generation 1 that are going to become more rare if you want to fill out your Pokedex. And if you want to get a good one, you can simply do the raids. Just to still be able to get these Pokemon. But in the wild, you're going to see the Generation 2 and now Generation 3 Pokemon starting next month a lot more frequently.
That makes sense.
I think it's just their way of clearing space and allowing you to still be able to get these Pokemon, but you're not going to be encountering them in the wild on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's just weird though. It's still like, I guess some people do care about that.
I think the vast majority of people care.
But now, how do you like Nidorino, and Nidorina? Sure, you can catch Nidoqueen and King, but if you're trying to do Pokedex...
Yeah, well, all you have to do is just catch one or a few. If you only need 20...
Oh, yeah, just one and get the candy from the King or Queen. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and then just evolve, and then you just evolve that one, and then you have your Pokedex filled out from your family. So... And honestly, is that such a bad thing? Like, would you be upset if Nidorans and all of these and Bellsprout and like all of these other Pokemon stop spawning?
No, I want Rattata to stop spawning.
Yeah, Rattata can go.
Pidgey's fine because it's like still the best Pokemon to evolve off of.
Yeah, Pidgey. We've agreed that Pidgey is the most important Pokemon in the entire game.
Secretly.
Yeah, it is. Secretly. It's what makes everything go. So it makes the economy of the game go.
And his twin brother is the worst.
Yeah, Spearow is basically the worst. It's my least favorite Pokemon that exists.
It's also rare. Like it's
and
rare.
It's hard to catch.
And it's a million candy to evolve. Yeah. It's like 12 versus 50. So
yeah, it's the worst.
And for those asking, yes, people still play Pokemon Go.
Yeah. I wasn't even.
Yes, it still exists.
Yeah, whatever. If you're not down with that, with our games that we're playing, that's fine. It's not for everyone. We enjoy it, and we're gonna keep on trucking. Ollie's almost halfway to level 40.
Yeah. Level 38.5.
Yeah, that's like I said. That's halfway to 40.
Yeah,
it is level 38.5. I think is exactly halfway to 40.
It's kind of ridiculous, but yeah.
I'm like double that away.
Well, I'm literally waiting for double XP event because I have a billion candies of each Pokemon. I'm just waiting for the double XP events to pop up that lucky egg and hopefully get 39.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about it. I'm just going, just whenever it happens. Years from now.
Yeah. Years from now.
Yep. Okay.
We'll see.
All right. Well, we have a lot of Pro Tour stuff to talk about. So, if you are ready to go, if you're ready to get off the Pokemon, we can jump into the Pro Tour Ixalan. You ready for that?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. We're going to be back in just 1 minute, guys, to talk about Pro Tour Ixalan. So, over the weekend, we obviously had another Pro Tour. Now, this is an interesting Pro Tour, not because it's really that different from any other Pro Tour. But as we noted before when we talked about World and Nationals, this tournament came after the World Championships, after each country's National Championship, and then you had a Pro Tour. Doesn't that just seem weird to you?
It does, but I'm not sure. Maybe I think they did it maybe to like have the metagame maybe not solve this fast. Maybe that was their idea.
Did that work or did that backfire?
I mean, it did not work at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think, there was still this... They tried to split it up. Watching some of their graphics, they would put Sultai Energy, Teamer Energy, and 4-Color Energy as 3 different decks, but the truth of the matter is, they're all largely one and the same.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, they have.
I was gonna say the Pro Tour was solved apparently the first weekend of the SG Open.
Yeah. I mean, essentially.
The deck that won the Pro Tour was
Sultai Energy.
Sultai Energy.
Yeah.
And the one that won the very first Standard Open on September 30th was Sultai Energy with Andrew Jessup, and the lists are
very similar.
Yes.
I mean, I do think there was some. Honestly, the main group that played Sultai Energy at the Pro Tour was Team Genesis and Team Revolution, which is actually made up of kind of former SCG Open Series grinders. And the reason that's important is I think there's a lot of professional Magic players that don't take the Open Series seriously as far as like the decks that come out of there and the type of players that are generally playing on that. I'm not saying that that's the case across the board, but I definitely think there's a large contingent of people that don't take a lot of those results into account too seriously. Like, they obviously noted if it's something crazy or out of the blue, but you have this deck in Sultai Energy that is an energy-based deck, but it is modified because it's a Winding Constrictor energy-based deck, not just a pure get as much energy as you can, Whirler Virtuoso, Bristling Hydra energy deck, right?
Right, but that was Andrew Jessup's list as well.
Yes, but that's my point. The point I'm trying to make actually is that I think you had this group of people, namely Brad Nelson, Seth Manfield, Brian Bronduin. These are people that actually respect the Jessups, Andrew Jessup, Danny Jessup, Jim Davis, more as far as like deck builders and players. I think more than other people that are on the Pro Tour do. And I think they were like, okay, they actually have something in this deck. This is something that we need to take seriously. And the vast majority of those two teams, Genesis and Revolution, ended up playing the Sultai Energy deck. A few people played Teamer Energy, but they all played some sort of energy deck. And obviously, the Sultai Energy deck in their hands, I think, had a really crazy record overall, including winning the event. So
yes,
just something to be said for that. But
no, I mean, I agree. It's just crazy that like essentially the format was solved week one by the Open. Like, we had approach decks, we had Sultai Energy decks. The only thing the Open didn't have was, I think, token decks.
Yeah, not that had any notable finishes. But you know what? We didn't actually have any token decks that did well. There were some that made day two, but they all kind of faltered in day two, unfortunately. And I know that's kind of what you've been playing in Standard.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But I mean, you were saying to me that you felt like there was just the lack of innovation in this format.
Absolutely, I think there's a reason for that. I think the energy is gets into our debate. I think energy is too good, or was a mistake.
So, okay, well, let's go ahead and get into that.
All right.
So our question of the week, we're going to hit it off early this time. Ollie, was energy, the mechanic, a mistake?
Was energy the mechanic a mistake?
The energy mechanic, was it a mistake?
Are you going to argue with me a different way?
What do you mean am I going to argue? I already know what you're going to answer.
Do you?
Yeah.
My thing was energy as a whole is a mistake. Energy mechanic probably is not a mistake.
Okay, well, what's the difference?
Energy is too versatile.
Well,
it's too powerful.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The energy mechanic.
So yeah, I'll say yes.
Okay. So why do you think it's a mistake?
Because energy is too versatile. It's when you're playing energy deck, energy does damage. It draws cards. It can gain life. It can give you rainbow mana. Energy is literally whatever you want it to be. And that's way too versatile.
So, and you think that's a mistake because of that?
I think it's because it's so good, it stops innovation. Yes, absolutely. It's also a thought. Yeah, I do believe that.
Okay, well, I'm going to disagree. Obviously,
Okay.
I don't think that energy was a mistake. I think they may have erred in a small amount of cards. I think as a whole, the energy mechanic is something they were trying to push, obviously, because it was a new mechanic. It's a pretty dramatic departure from what we look as traditional Magic, because there's no, I don't think there's anything else, any other resource that you can have that someone can't take away, interact with.
Yeah.
Your permanents, your cards in hand, your cards in your library, or your life total. These are all things that other people can interact with.
It's basically like in the emblem zone.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And previously, when players got counters, it's something negative that your opponent was trying to give you, like poison counters.
Yeah.
And this is kind of where I want to make the crux of my argument is I don't think it was a mistake. I think they just they made it a little too easy to get with a small group of cards, and I think that has opened the floodgates for these type of decks. Honestly, I think if Attune with Ether and Rogue Refiner both gave you 1 energy instead of 2, I don't even think we're having this debate. I think it's just another mechanic that's interesting, but is not overwhelming. I think those are the 2 cards that really make.
But that's not the case at all. And those are the cards that are like define energy.
You're right.
Attune with Aether.
Right. Attune with Aether is the most important card. Well, the second most important card.
What do you think the first
Ether
one
Hub is the most important card.
I'd argue Attune is better. But anyways, that's a different debate. Like, the cards as they are, it makes energy just too versatile. Even if you nerfed them, energy is still doing too much. Like, as is, Attune with Aether is search your library for a land, choose 1. Lose one life, draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, essentially make a Thopter, use it to tap your land for any colored mana twice, and give something a counter and hexproof, like or deal 2 damage to a creature. Like, it's just that's too much for 1 mana spell. And then Rogue Refiner is the same thing. It's 3 mana. It's a 3-mana 3/2 that draws a card.
Which is already a good rate on
has
sound.
Exactly. Then it has
all of those same
abilities. That has a Plora text. Yeah. Like a 3-mana 3/2 says draw a card, then draw a card again and lose 1 life.
Are we just saying this though because this deck just won the Pro Tour? And it was narrowly won the Pro Tour, by the way.
It doesn't matter if it won the Pro Tour or not. Like, that's being results oriented. The deck has dominated throughout its legality and standard.
Yeah, but like, okay, but it's not dominated to a point where it's like 80% of the metagame. We're not talking Callblade levels. We're not talking Affinity levels.
We're just talking about 60% of the metagame?
No, it's 50%. And
it's 53%.
That's closer to 50 than it is 60.
It's still a vast margin. I feel like people that aren't playing it are trying to beat it. Like, the approach deck is a deck that's designed to prey.
Okay, what about
that's its
what
success.
Do you think is the
Same
second best non-energy deck in Standard?
Godfarer's
Okay,
Gift.
I'm gonna say overall the Remming Up Red deck.
Actually, I lied. You're right. It is Ramen Up Red. It is 100% Ramen Up Red.
That is not a deck that I feel like is trying to prey on energy decks specifically. It is simply just a very efficient, aggressive red deck that has reach. It is not. It's not doing anything to being like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of these energy decks. It's just existing in its own bubble, regardless of energy or not, and it's able to compete on a power level scale the same. So
that deck's only able to compete on a power level the same is because of Hazoret. Hazoret and to a lesser extent Ragnarok
okay,
Ruins.
Sure, but
yeah.
That's okay. So you're saying like, oh, this deck's only good because of its 2 best cards. Well, yeah. Okay. Approach is only a good deck because you have Approach of the Second Sun. God's Pharaoh's Gift is only good because you have Approach, the card God's Pharaoh's Gift.
No, Approach is only good because it preys on quote unquote preys on Team Energy because Fumigate is like an insane card. Tokens is a really good deck because it supposedly preys on Teamer and shuts down the Scarab God. Like
okay, well, you just said the Scarab God. You're talking about a non-energy card that's clearly very good. But
yes, but that card is also good because of the Teamer-based deck.
I don't think those are. I think it is a card that's very powerful. That's easy for them to cast. I don't think it has anything to do with the synergy of that deck at all, whatsoever.
You don't think the Scarab God's popularity or power is because of Team Energy?
No.
Okay, I disagree. So the Scarab God's awful against Approach, it's awful against tokens, and it's really good against Team Energy decks.
That's
like energy. Energy is so powerful.
I think if energy didn't exist, the Scarab God would be equally as dominant as it is. You just named decks that it's not good against.
I don't. It would be Scarab God is a card that's. I agree with you. That's good against mid-range decks in general. Mid-range decks with creatures is going to be good against. The problem with energy,
we can both agree, is the vast majority of standard Magic in the last 5 years is mid-range creature-based decks. For better or worse. For better or worse, it is.
Oh, sure. Okay, but things like. Energy destroys innovation. Like, it's very hard for any deck to play a mid-range deck that's not energy. Like mid-range deck is quote unquote is the pinnacle of healthy format. Like if the best decks in the format are mid-range decks, then like you're good to go. But the problem with energy is like it is the best mid-range strategy to play. Like if you're playing a mid-range deck, it better be energy, because if it's not, you are denying yourself percentage points of winning.
I feel like you're talking about this like this is like one of the boogeyman decks of like Standard's history, and I just don't think that's the case. Like I think that's like saying if you're not playing Tribal Fairies, you're giving up percentage points. If you're not playing Affinity, you're giving up percentage points. If you're not playing Stoneforge Mystic, you're giving up percentage points. Those are simply just the most powerful strategies. And when I say Stoneforge Mystic, I don't just mean the card. I mean decks surrounding a white-based attrition card advantage engine.
Stoneforge Mystic was fine, by the way, in Standard.
Yeah, it was just Jace and Batterskull.
It was Jace. Yeah. Stoneforge Mystic was fine.
Okay, sure.
Back to this.
But okay, so my point is, like, I think we're cornering this because it has a name. Because we can just say energy as a whole, that we're cornering this into say it's too good. But it's like it's not any more dominant overall than like all of these other decks I just named.
Than Fairies was or whatever.
Yeah.
And well, no, but those formats were like okay. I feel like are you comparing this to Affinity and saying
I'm saying
it wasn't more dominant than Affinity? No, it wasn't. Affinity was more dominant. Affinity was way more dominant than Energy was. Doesn't mean Energy was not a mistake.
Okay, what about okay. Alright, so what about like Mono Black Devotion?
Devotion was also a mistake, I think.
Okay, but like this is I think in the history of Magic, energy is not a mistake because, yes, is this going to be a very powerful archetype during its time in Standard? Absolutely. Is this going to dominate Modern? No, definitely not.
No, I mean, not yet. If they put more energy cards, then yes, it will. Like we've seen people play Aetherworks Marvel in Modern. Like speaking of Aetherworks Marvel, that was not the energy card that was banned in Standard.
Yeah, that's true, but that wasn't okay. If you weren't,
there's a Healy combo deck. Sorry,
if you weren't getting giant monstrosities off of Aetherworks Marvel, I don't think it gets banned. If you weren't getting Emrakul and
I don't know. It's still
it's still banned. That's because they're not unbanning something in Standard. That's just not something they're going to do.
But I don't know if you're saying it's true. Casting a spell every turn or every other turn is a free spell. Is going to win you the game, no matter what you're casting. This Healy Rye and Vault Guardian deck was an energy deck.
Yeah, but that was good because of that combo. Energy was just in the format to support it. That deck was just going to play what
energy was.
That deck is just going to play the most powerful shell that it can.
Yes, but energy was the glue for it.
Because that was what
energy was the glue for the deck.
If you just had a group of other powerful cards that didn't have a,
but if you didn't have energy, the mana base would be so much worse, and you couldn't play 4 colors.
For this Standard.
Dude, everything was energy.
Yeah, that's because the whole block is that mechanic.
The block was, but it carried over everywhere. Like the best miniature deck was energy. The best combo deck was energy. The best control deck was Team or Tower at the time was energy.
Here's okay. I want us to remember this conversation because right now we're looking at a Standard where we're seeing 5 sets total. Right? There's 5 sets in Standard, which is the smallest the Standard's been for a while. And 2 of those sets exclusively are essentially based around energy. Like the vast majority of their cards are energy-based cards. Is that correct?
Sorry, what now?
The vast majority of 2 of the 5 sets in Magic are based around energy, being Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. Yeah?
Sure.
So it makes sense that because you have a singular block that has a unifying mechanic, such as energy, that's going to be something that's going to be really powerful in Standard due to the size of the format. I think as you see Standard grow, when we get Rivals of Ixalan, Dominaria, and the core set, when we have a full-size Standard, I think this is going to be a different conversation. I don't think energy continues to dominate. They're not getting more tools.
They are not, but they build the perfect mid-range mana base. That is the problem. A team with Aether Hub, Rogue Refiner is the start of all your mid-range decks.
Yeah, you're right. And those are the 2 cards that I pointed out. But again, I think the issue is the power of those cards, not necessarily the mechanic itself.
I mean, that is an argument that, like, but you're arguing that something doesn't exist. Like, those cards do exist. Those cards do give 2 energy.
Yes. They do. You're right.
So, okay. So is the argument that energy is too good, or the argument is the mechanic itself okay?
I think it's fine. I think you're just seeing in this.
What's fine? Energy or as the mechanic, or energy in Standard?
Both. I think energy. I think energy in the mechanic is fine. I think energy in the mechanic in Standard is the most powerful thing you can do because of a lack of options and an Amonkhet block on purpose, and I think Ixalan in general is just less powerful. And I don't mean mechanically, because even if you look at Kaladesh block excluding all the energy cards, I think the cards in Kaladesh block are more powerful than non-energy cards than the majority of the cards in Amonkhet block and Ixalan.
And you think that has nothing to do with energy?
No, I'm saying the cards that don't have anything to do with energy.
You think Amonkhet block is worse because of that? You're saying the cards in Kaladesh are stronger than Amonkhet and
I think the non-energy cards in Kaladesh and Amonkhet are stronger than the cards
in
the cards in the block of Amonkhet and the block of Ixalan. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying.
Sorry, man. Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No.
Okay.
You're saying you're saying Kaladesh block and Almond Kev block. What you just said was Kaladesh block, Almond Kev block have better cards than Almond Kev block and
No,
Ixalan
that's not
block.
what I'm saying.
Okay, but that's what you said. Okay,
no,
then say it again.
Kaladesh
One more
and
time.
Aether Revolt.
Okay, see, you said it before.
Sorry.
Kaladesh and Aether Revolt block.
That block
is
the cards that
are stronger overall.
Are stronger overall. Looking at
than Almond Kev block
Ixalan.
and half of Ixalan.
Yeah, the first set of Ixalan. Yes, and I'm saying looking at the non-energy cards that don't say energy on them, that don't produce energy, talk about energy, whatever.
I disagree. The Scarab God is from
yes.
Almond Kev block. Approaches.
Yeah. Fatal Push is from Aether Revolt. Torrential Gearhulk is from Kaladesh.
Okay, but the decks that come from other blocks are like God Pharaoh's Gift is a deck. The Scarab God is. What is the approach as a deck?
Yeah, and Angel of Invention is from Kaladesh, and it has nothing to do with energy.
No, but that deck exists because of God Pharaoh's Gift.
You're right.
Aketra's Monument, the breakout deck of the Pro Tour, was not from Kaladesh.
No, I still look. This is.
I just think you're wrong. Like, I mean, look at the winning deck list. Seth Mayfield's winning deck list.
I mean, if you want to use that, I could say, okay, well, Fatal Push is the most played card in Standard, and that's from Aether Revolt.
But it's not.
It is. It is from Aether Revolt.
It is from Aether Revolt, but it's not the most played. Like, 18th Aether or Aether Hub has to be more common play than Fatal Pushes.
I'm going to look right now. I'm going to go to MTG Goldfish, our friendly data-oriented site. And I'm going to go to Format Staples in Standard. Okay, yeah, Team with Aether is the most. You're right.
Thank you. You want to stop arguing this? You just want to talk about her?
I am going to stop arguing this, but I'm not giving up. Never give up. Never surrender. Anything else? Okay, that's our debate. We're gonna put that up. We're gonna put that up on a vote on.
Can I just do one final comment?
Do you need to? Do you feel like you need to?
No, I don't need to.
No, I don't
need to.
You know what? I understand. Ollie.
I think
after last week, the people sided with me. In our question of the week, the people sided with me, saying that Jace getting his memory back was bad.
Sure, and thing is, that's debatable.
It was, and we had a lot of great conversation on Twitter.
Yeah, this one is a landslide. I think.
I think you know what? I think this is a popular opinion right now, and I think Magic players are overreacting like they always do historically. Overreacting.
No.
Absolutely, they're overreactors.
No, they are overreactors. Yes, but they're not overreacting now. They are right. Like a lot of these cards are banned in Standard because they're energy. I'm worried.
One is banned in Standard because
Saheeli.
Saheeli is legal. One. Feldar Guardian's banned.
The combo itself, because
it is not.
It was a 4-color deck.
It is not because of energy that card is banned. It's a 2-card combo. That's why it's banned. It's that simple. You can't have that in Standard.
No, man. No. Do you understand how bad the control combo was compared to the creature combo?
I do. I played that deck. We played the deck at the same tournament, the first tournament you could play it in Standard.
Okay. We need to put this... this is the last thing I'm saying.
All right.
A mechanic is a problem when it's stifling to new decks. And when you are building a mid-range deck that is not energy, you are severely hindering yourself. And that in itself is a problem when mid-range deck is quote-unquote the healthiest format you can have, or the bit in a format. A mid-range format is the best, healthiest, blah, blah, blah format to exist. And when you can't build, when you are literally hurting yourself if you build anything else not based on energy, that is a problem. That stops innovation. So those are my final words for this debate.
I've said everything I need to say. I'm not gonna have any final words. I'm gonna let the people be the judge.
Okay.
Follow us at Thinktwice MTG on Twitter, or at Ollie Aintrazi, or at JParnell1. I'm sure one of us will post this poll for question of the week for Thinktwice. You guys let us know what you think on this topic. Do you?
Just the one. The last
Yep.
one. It was the race debate.
Yep.
This one is going to be the energy debate.
That's right. Ollie, do you have any other thoughts on Pro Tour Ixalan?
I do not.
Okay. My last thought is I wish that we would go back to Pro Tour city names. So this would be like Pro Tour Albuquerque. I think that makes it a little more special.
Ooh,
but I get it. I mean, like this is your marketing tool. Pro Tour Albuquerque doesn't.
It's also easier. It's also easier to find. Like for people like me,
it's
that
easier
don't
to
know.
find if you use Wizard's website, but
easy. It's easier to find
if you Google it.
Or you're looking for something.
Yeah, that's the best part of Wizards.
Pro Tour just happened.
Yeah, the best part of Wizards' website is using Google to get where you need to go and not clicking links on their website.
Their website is A+.
Yep, A+. All right,
Moving on.
Okay,
we have next.
That'll wrap up our Pro Tour Ixalan discussion. So next up, we're going to talk about a topic Ollie and I almost got off on last week, but we wanted to make it a full segment. So we're going to talk about our favorite Magic gear. Okay, so Ollie, last week we were talking about what our favorite type of stuff to take to Magic tournaments. When we were talking about, we were talking about tournament length and what you could do to try to, I don't want to say make that a little bit easier, but what you can do to help yourself outside of the Magic part in Magic tournaments. So what I kind of want to go over today is what we feel like the best gear is and things that you can take with you to Magic tournaments that are going to leave you best prepared for the whole day or the whole weekend, probably more so.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good topic. It's good for us, good for other players. Maybe they can chime in and tell us what they think is better.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Best.
Because I mean, like, even though we have our favorites, but that doesn't mean that those are necessarily the best. Like, I would love to try new stuff as I travel, because I travel a lot outside of outside of playing in Magic tournaments. So some of this stuff is going to be Magic specific. Sleeves, deck boxes, playmats is Magic specific, but there's also other stuff that we have that's not necessarily specific to Magic that we feel like kind of would be a positive contributing factor to this discussion. So
yeah.
So I guess we'll start with the big one.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that obviously, as long as you are someone who travels semi-frequently to Magic events or not, the most important thing that you're going to have is a bag to carry your stuff in. Now, I've seen plenty of people take little grocery store paper bags with their deck in it, but assuming you're not one of those people, you want to have a bag that you can trust, it's going to last, that's going to carry your stuff exactly how you want it to. And finding that bag for each person can always, I don't know, I don't want to say difficult, but everyone has different priorities. And based on those priorities, you definitely want to try to find a good bag for you. So we talked about this one about a little bit last week, but we can go over it again. So Ollie,
yeah, I used to before we get to the bag, I used to actually use I went from backpack, like just a legit backpack, to just carrying the deck box with me, carrying the stuff I need with me, like avoid the deck box, my life pad, and dice in a pocket. To a smaller bag, but it was still like it was like a backpack. It was like still a backpack, but it was a string bag. You basically just threw my deck box in there, life pad, and you just close the string, put it in your bag. Like I've had that, and then finally, actually when I joined TCG Player, they gave me a little, I'm not sure what you call it, a mail bag. Is that what it's called? The bag where you like throw it over your shoulder,
like a
it's like a mail bag.
No, oh my god, drawstring bag.
A drawstring bag? No, it's the one that it's like Timbuktu. That's
a messenger
by the way,
bag?
that's what. Yes, it was a very very bad messenger bag.
Okay.
It was but it was still great enough that I actually liked it, liked the feel of it. I liked what I could put in it. And then I realized that, hey, my best friend Justin is always wearing a messenger bag, and he's always pulling snacks, multiple decks out of it. His entire cube that lets 8 people play. He's pulling like all these things out of it. He has like a car in there. He has his keys. He has his shoes. He has hair product. He has
two
babies.
toddlers.
He has whatever, in that bag. And I was like, yo, Justin, what kind of bag is that? And he was like, this is the Timbuktu Small Edition. It's like, small?
Yeah.
That is small?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's small. And I was like, oh my God, let me do some research. I look this up, and eventually I find one. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get the medium because I gotta be bigger than Justin because I'm bigger in real life. So I figured I had to do a little bigger in the bag too, So did that, and I actually haven't looked back. I still have the same exact bag.
And you've had that for 4 years now, maybe 3. I think 3 years.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
And in mine, I've used mine a lot more than Justin does. Like,
just in general, yeah.
Mine gets slammed around.
He's more of a things abuser, for sure.
Oh, sure. We'll also travel more. I travel more to tournaments with my bag to play. Mine gets slammed around. It gets rained on. It gets I've spilled on, and still just in fantastic shape. Like, I'm talking about, like, if you think something got rained on and it's like gets dropped a lot or whatever, I was on the floor a lot, you think, oh, this thing's like ugly and damaged and worn, but it's not. It still does its job, carries all my stuff, and carries. I don't think I could ever fill a bag up.
No, there's always more. It has a ton of. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about my experience, and this is the bag that I personally recommend. I've recommended it to like all my friends. I have 2 Timbuktu bags. I have a small one, like Ollie said. It's just one of their regular. I think it's called the Commute, the small version, and then I have another version that's similar to the Commute in a medium, which is the same size that Ollie has. And I switch kind of between the two depending on how far away I'm traveling from home, because the medium obviously carries more stuff. But it's not only is it like a laptop bag, because it has a laptop, a specific laptop pocket in the back, that's like lined with like soft material to keep your screen safe and stuff. But it's just like, it's for Magic, and I want to look at it from a Magic point of view. It has a ton of water bottle holders. It has like 2 on the interior and 1 on the exterior, which is really important for me because I drink a ton of water. Is pretty much the only thing I drink. If you ever see me at a Magic tournament, that's what I'm always going to have on me, is just, multiple water bottles. But there's so many pockets on the interior. You can fit like all sorts of like water bottles and snacks in all of those little pockets, and it's going to keep it away from your cards, your trade binder, your deck boxes, etc. The straps are really heavy duty. It takes a lot to tear the straps. There's, like I said, there's all sorts of pockets, which I love because I love little compartments and stuff. And it's extremely durable. Ollie's is white. He ordered a white one, which looked super nice. Yeah. And even after 3+ years, even though it's not like the pure clean white that it was, it still looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't look dirty and disgusting, which is shocking.
No, it doesn't.
Honestly.
Yeah.
The exterior of mine still looks pretty new, and I've had my medium one for over 5 years, and I've had my small one for almost 7. So these bags, bags are the real deal.
They're also great for airports.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're fantastic for airports, especially the one with the laptop pocket, which is what both of us have. You can go on. I cut you off.
No, that's it. You know more about than I do. I was just saying this.
Yeah. The bags are not cheap. I mean, as far as, honestly, for what you're getting, they actually are pretty cheap. But obviously everyone's budget is different. This is the number one thing that I recommend for Magic travel, is getting a good bag that you can carry with you that's safe and secure. And one of these, you can find one, if you're not picky about the color, like if you don't want to get whatever your favorite color is, you can probably find one on Amazon for about $100. They're worth every penny. this is like I said, this is the number one thing that I recommend. I wouldn't want to skimp on one of these bags, but you don't really have to because every single one that you would get in this brand is excellent. You can get a small one for like $60 probably, maybe a little bit less if you find a discontinued color, get it on sale. But I highly recommend getting a bag, and there's a lot of other good brands out there, but this is my favorite, and I think Ollie's favorite since he's had it too.
Yeah, I think they're actually having a flash sale with 40% off, but unfortunately, people will not get this in time because I think it's only for 2 days.
Well, we'll get Director John Che to link the Timbuktu's website in the description so we can show you guys if we can remember to do that. He's listening. He'll be editing this later, so if he doesn't do that, that's entirely on him. You can blow him up on Twitter. So, okay, so moving on from bags, what about other things that are still non-magic things? So, like, Ollie, do you have a water bottle, like a specific water bottle that you take with you?
I do, but it's not like this isn't something I've invested a ton of time in. The one I use is just a literally. Well, I got this from my girlfriend Amberly. She went to Target or Walmart and bought this brand called TAL. It's like a tall water bottle. It's basically a stainless steel, and it has like it's insulated. It's somehow insulated. Yeah. It's just really big, and it doesn't leak, which is huge. Yes. Obviously, I can't have a leaking water bottle. That's one of the biggest things. It's double walled stainless steel. It's made of durable materials, and it's built to last. And it's basically, I think it's a 17-ounce capacity, and it does keep your hot liquids hot and your cold liquids cold. And it's just really cheap. It's like I think it's like $10 if not less. And you can find them at Walmart, and it's been fantastic. Like it fits very well into my Timbuktu bag. So, and it's big and it lasts me the majority of the day.
I have a brand that actually at one point I think you could also get these at Walmart. I don't know if you can anymore, but the brand is called Contigo. A couple of my friends at work who obviously also play Magic and travel frequently recommended this brand to me, and this is also a stainless steel huge water bottle. It's 24 ounces. It's like a snap lid, so it doesn't spill at all. And you could literally fill it all the way up with water, and if you snap the lid shut after you screw it on, you could shake it around and not a single drop is going to come out. I've had this thing for a couple years now. It's phenomenal. Even like yesterday, literally, or I guess Friday, on Thursday, I had put some ice in it for my water. And then when I came in the next day, the water the ice had melted for the most part, but the water was still like ice cold. Like that's how good it keeps.
Yeah. This one is the same thing.
Yeah, and like
sometimes they'll come home with a water bottle. Sorry, I want to empty it.
Yeah.
I apologize. And the next day, it still has ice in it too.
I mean that's fantastic.
Anyways, I apologize for.
No, it's cool. But I mean, like being able to put ice in a water bottle and have like your drink cold. If you fill it up with ice and just keep filling it up with water, even if you're filling it up with like water from a water fountain at a convention center, one, it's going to be cold, which I mean for me and for most people I think makes it taste better already. But being able to have cold water pretty much the whole day that's like having a cheat code above everybody else at events. So if you can have one of these water bottles that is, and we'll try to link these two in the description also to the two brands that we use. One that doesn't leak, keeps things hot or cold, and is really durable. Like I could literally I was gonna say if I threw it on the ground, if I threw this at someone, I'd probably kill them on accident because these things are like super heavy duty. But it's not gonna break or damage at all. So two awesome brands, ones that Ollie and I both recommend. We'll get those links to you as well. Ollie, last week we talked a little bit about our note-taking methods. So you were the one that got me
yes.
on this. So I'll let you start.
Yeah, I think I actually started before a lot of people did.
You
When I first
definitely
used to
did.
use
You
this,
definitely did.
yeah, when I first started using this, people would like message me all the time. What's all you using? What are you using? It's the Boogie Board. This thing is fantastic. I no longer have to, I hate carrying pen and pad all the time with me. Like I hated sometimes, leaving my pen on the table and having to ask my opponent for a piece of paper. Writing down notes like when you duress or thoughts of your opponent, you have to write down notes on it.
Which I do
like
very
paper.
frequently.
It destroys your notepad. The Boogie Board is fantastic. I bought mine for $10. I think they're a little more expensive now.
I'm looking
not
now.
much more.
They are the same one that you bought for $10 is $20 now.
Okay. Well, I guess they've become a little more popular, but still, they're still fantastic. Yeah. They don't run on batteries, so you just you press the button, it clears the whole screen. It's not powered by batteries, and it just saves you so much paper. Like it's actually, I'm not like someone that's super like environmentally healthy, but this thing is environmentally healthy. It also doesn't use batteries.
It does. Well, okay, so it does use a battery, but it's not like a replaceable battery. It's just a singular battery that lasts the entire time because it's so low power that you can. There's a button on it that you clear the pad.
Yes.
And I think you can clear it like 30, 40, it's like tens of thousands of times, like 50,000 times. I'm like, let me click on this description. Yeah, literally 50,000 erases before it doesn't.
That's what they guarantee.
Yeah, that's a guarantee. So it's probably going to go on longer than that.
Yeah, I've had mine for the same one for a very long time.
You've had yours probably for about 5 years now.
Yeah, and it's still clearing the same way.
So. Ollie got me one of these for a gift a few years ago, and I've literally used it ever since. And it's like, oh my gosh, I would. It's so much more convenient. It's so much easier. Like it's really smooth. You don't have to worry about pens. It's difficult to sign your match slip with. I've tried that a couple of times. I would recommend having an actual pen, so when you sign your match slip, that you have ink.
That is the only downside. Even then, you can. But even then, you can just get a pen that has a stylus. On the backside has a stylus, and you're fine.
Yeah.
So, it's fantastic. I would never again. Like if I went to a Magic event and left my boogie board at home, I would be on tilt the whole day.
I would too, and I have before, and I have like a pen and paper, like a little bit of paper, and a couple pens in my bag just as a backup. And I was like, ugh, this feels wasteful.
Ancient. It feels savage.
Like seriously.
Yeah.
I really did feel like super wasteful. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a huge step up.
It is, and this is one of the best things because I mean we're in November now. This is honestly, if we're talking about if you want to tell someone to get a gift for you, this is a really, really good suggestion, like a really good one.
Yeah, I agree
because it's cheap.
Even for Commander games.
Oh yeah, I mean you can solidly fit four players of Commander. Just make a little graph on there. Then you keep life. Yeah, it's fantastic. Honestly, for any use, even like office use, just to put notes on there for immediate. It's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so
and they come in all shapes and sizes. So
yeah, they have little ones, they have big ones, they have ones that save notes. They're all pretty awesome, but even just the most basic one, the one that's $20, I mean that's the one I would recommend. Not fancy, but does the job.
Me too. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so let's go through some Magic-related stuff really quickly. So, Ollie, do you have a favorite brand of sleeves?
Yes, I used to like Dragon Shield in the very beginning. Then I faltered because the sleeves would get miscut, or I would be playing Magic and basically, again, basically the sleeves would be miscut, and you can't have that. You can't have that Magic. So I backed off Dragon Shield. Went some other things, but I just missed the Dragon Shield feel. Then eventually, Dragon Shield came out with Dragon Shield matte sleeves, and these are the best sleeves I've ever used. Period. They are. So I would highly. That's what I use.
I'm the same. I've always loved Dragon Shield, even before they had the matte. But when they came out with the matte sleeves, hands down, like I got like 10 boxes of them to re-sleeve my cube in. And they're phenomenal.
They show phenomenal.
The durability is hands down the best of any sleeve. Period. And I don't even think it's debatable.
Yes. I went from like the sleek Dragon Shields compared to other Dragon Shields. I just thought Dragon Shield was by far the best, except when they started miscutting them. And now Dragon Shields to Dragon Shield matte is also huge. Like I would never want to buy regular Dragon Shields compared to Dragon Shield matte, and that should tell you how good these sleeves are.
I have been trying a couple because I do working at Star City Games. I occasionally get a couple of samples. I got a sample of the BCW Elite sleeves, which are pretty new. They're pretty similar to Dragon Shield matte. I've actually really liked them a lot. They're a little bit cheaper than Dragon Shield matte, I think by $3 or $4. You don't get 100, you only get 80, but they're pretty nice. They're very similar to the Dragon Shield matte. Very durable also. So those are a good alternative. And I liked Ultimate Guard's UX sleeves, but they discontinued the UX sleeves and then brought another type of sleeve that it has a similar name that are no good. So I cannot recommend Ultimate Guard's current line of sleeves, even though the one they discontinued that they had last year were phenomenal. They were the best sleeves for the price, but they just don't make them anymore. So,
yeah.
What about deck boxes?
Speaking of Ultimate Guard, my favorite deck box is the Ultimate Guard Flip and Tray. It's a deck box that carries, speaking of convenience, it carries your deck box. Then it has a little tray in the top that carries all your dice or whatever else you need for the event. And it's all magnetic. If you loved the old Ionic deck boxes that had like the magic symbols like fires,
and I still use those occasionally.
Yes, this is that material, or seems like similar material, but just better. Like it's similar to that, but just better. Like the magnet is super strong, but not like annoying, and just being able to carry your dice or what else you need is really good. That's by far my favorite deck box that I've used. So
I agree with Ali. I think the Ultimate Guards, all of their products, as far as all their deck box products, are the best of whatever kind they are. I think the Ultimate Guards are the best.
That was it, just closing.
That with that noise, I heard that snap in the background. Yeah,
that snap was the deck box closing.
Those magnets are serious, and that's actually my second favorite deck box. Are oh my gosh, I just lost the name. of it. Sorry.
Wow.
I literally cannot think of it.
Describe it.
Well, they look like the Ultimate. I actually think here I'm gonna let's pause at 109.
109.
Just 109 when I started babbling, and then I'm gonna go look. I have an unopened one in my closet. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay. It's Dex protection.
How convenient.
Okay. I'll start back at 110. Okay, so the other brand that I like is Dex Protection. They make really nice big deck boxes. They're really durable on the outside. They're really soft on the inside so they don't mess up your sleeves. However, the magnets are not as strong as Ultimate Guard. So if you're not hard on your deck boxes and you're not jostling them around in your bags, I think they're an excellent choice. They're really good for the money too. They're under $10 for really quality deck box, but the magnets, like I said, are not as good. And I have seen someone lose a deck. Actually, it was Suarez. If you watch Commander Versus, he literally like made like a quick motion with his hand, and his deck literally flew out. It's like it happened in slow motion.
Oh my god! Good job.
So, but otherwise, I have to agree with Ollie. Ultimate Card's the way to go. Okay, Ollie, last one, and this is a little bit different one. But what about playmats? What do you think people should use for playmats?
Playmats. I've seen that. I've seen all kinds. The kinds that the tournament organizers give you, or that Wizards sells, or people that are custom made. I've also seen ones that are cloth based. Those are with some kind of wizardry playmats that are for some reason expensive.
Wizardry.
It's like expensive for some reason. I've seen like dual playmats where like you and your opponent can both play on it. Anyways, I think playmats, as long as they don't slide on the table, which is most of them don't, I think that you should use them to. It doesn't matter what they are. Just use them to represent you. Like basically what you would wear. Use your favorite art on it. I'm a huge fan of custom playmats. Just ones that either represent you in a certain way. Like either has like your favorite band or favorite card art or custom art. I think those are also always fantastic to look at or see. Mine is actually an Adventure Time one, and it says
your favorite playmat is fantastic, and it's so great and it's so perfect for you.
Hold on,
I'll do mine while you're getting yours out. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So the playmat that I use, occasionally I'll use my blue Commander Versus mat. And that's kind of the one because I want, it's fun for people to be like, oh yeah, I can get that mat too. So I like playing on that sometimes because that is my mat. Like that's actually that was made for me, which is pretty awesome. But my actual favorite mat is one of my favorite creatures in Magic, which is Tarmogoyf. The original Modern Masters 2013 art of Tarmogoyf. I love that art. There's only one playmat with it. It's from the 2014 Eternal Weekend. It was the entry playmat for the 2014 Eternal Weekend, and my good friend Liz Richardson. Some of you probably know her. She does judging and admin at a lot of events. She is, in my opinion, one of the best Magic judges, and I'm not even saying this from a biased perspective anyway. But she gave me that mat because I love that art and I really wanted it, and I pretty much have used it ever since. And it's my favorite one because I love that art so much, and that mat means a lot to me because I got it from her. So
I thought your favorite one was Slave of Bolas.
That is my favorite one, but that's your mat. You have the Slave of Bolas mat. I don't have a Slave of Bolas mat. That's in my top 3.
That's true.
I love that art so much. Right, so Slave of Bolas, oh my god, it's so beautiful.
Blown up. Yeah, blown up. It's crazy.
Some cards, when the art gets big, it doesn't look as good. No, this Slave of Bolas looks better.
This one looks better. Yeah, the background is actually Bolas' tail. You realize that there's scales. You realize
there's
that
so much detail on the angel's face. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the angel sigils are breaking and she's crying.
Beautiful art.
You should definitely, go look at that art if you haven't seen it blown up. But anyways, back to my playmat. It's a Jake and Finn playmat from Adventure Time. It has a quote on there, and it says, "Dude, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something." And that's a quote from Adventure Time. I just think it's fantastic for the show, Magic, and just life in general. Yeah. So I think it's by far my favorite. I don't think I'll ever replace it. I just love that quote. I love that quote a lot.
I agree. I think it's awesome. I think it's an awesome playmat. And that's the type of playmat you should have. I always encourage people to have their own playmat. You get so many playmats at different tournaments now. Every tournament you go to, you get a playmat. Yeah. Most of them are just going to go in your closet, but finding that one that's you and you're like, I love this playmat. This is what I want to use. Man, when I pull out my favorite playmat, like when I pull out that Tarmogoyf playmat, every round I play with it. I'm like, I love this playmat,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It makes me feel better when I have that thing or something that I love and all the stuff that I love, and I don't know. It makes a better Magic experience for me when I'm playing.
No, absolutely. Me too. And again, saying it again, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. That's just priceless to me. I love it. Because it's like it's a joke, but it's also true.
It's great advice.
I don't know. Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Okay. All right. Well, we have one more segment this week, and this is something we talked to you guys a little bit about last week. So hopefully you guys were able to catch up. But we're going to throw up a spoiler warning now, and we're going to throw up a spoiler warning when we get into the segment. But we're going to be talking about season 2 of Stranger Things. We'll be back in a minute. So, spoiler warning, again, just want to throw it up there one more time, but we're going to talk about one of my favorite shows from the last couple of years that just had its new second season come out on Netflix, I think roughly 2 weeks ago from the time when you guys are listening to this. And that is Stranger Things. Ollie, what do you think about this show or this series in general?
I just think it's awesome. I think to me it's still kind of a phenomena that nerdy stuff is actually popular. Like it's weird to me that like when I was growing up in school, comic book stuff and Marvel things was not something that was popular. Now it's like taking over. It's the best movies, the best shows are all nerdy, and I love the show. This show's great. It's super nerdy. I love all the characters. They like each one is different, and they're very good actors. It's just, I mean, and the show's phenomenal. Like I really like it. It's not like too dark. But it's kind of dark. It hits everything on
just
perfect
right.
access for
me. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It's actually a really lighthearted show, and it's crazy because I feel like I'm legitimately rooting for all of these characters, and they're all very human. Like they're not like caricatures of they're not like character tropes for the most part. Like all of the main characters, and there's actually a lot. I mean, this is a show that has like 10 characters that I would consider central, like that they're getting billing on the title crawl of the show. You know what I mean? Like there's actually 10 different people, which is awesome. The show is incredibly well cast. I actually think that even though the casting, obviously all of the cast returned from season 1 to season 2, and they're all cast in season 1, but I actually think that the actors did a better job this season being more comfortable in their roles than they would in the first season, and that made it even better for me because at its core, this is it's kind of like a monster movie show or like a horror show,
but nerdy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and during Halloween.
Yeah, but it's like, but this is really like, this is a show about friends and family. And that's the most central element and the most important thing of the show.
The characters they make that are made to love, you love. You want them to succeed. You want them to do well.
Despite their flaws,
that are
too.
evil. Oh yeah, the characters that are bad. Like sure they're monsters, but like there's so many characters that you just want to succeed. Like the whole party.
Yeah.
I love how they're actually a party.
And they say that so much this season. It's great every time. It doesn't get old ever.
Yeah, and they have rules, and the first rule is friends never lie.
Yeah,
and I absolutely love that. Like it's just great. It's fantastic. So, and even though that rule, like, it also portrays like even though that rule is a rule, it gets broken, but it's still like okay at its core. Like
it's broke. It's
still the main
for
rule.
the right reason. It's never malicious.
Yeah,
because all of these
like,
characters legitimately care about each other so much.
Yeah, they do.
That was actually my favorite thing going from last season to this season is last season you kind of had these groups. You had these groups of people. You had the main party, which was the kids, Mike, Dustin, Lucas, and then you added 11, and then of course they were looking for Will, who was the fifth member of their party. Then you had the adults, namely Joyce, who is Will's mom, Chief Jim Hopper,
who's awesome.
Who is awesome. And then towards the end, you had Bob Newby, who was Joyce's boyfriend, and then you had the high school kids. So you had Nancy, who's Mike's older sister, and then you had Barb, her friend, along with Jonathan, who's Will's older brother, and then Steve Harrington, who doesn't actually have any other like family, notably in the series. They're like these three groups, right? And there wasn't, other than the family ties, there wasn't a whole lot of connection between the three groups. But now in season 2, there is this like, they might not interact with each other in their day-to-day lives, but they all feel so connected, and they're all constantly looking out for each other because they went through this incredible, terrible trauma in the first season. And even the characters that, like, I feel like, to me, like, got on my nerves or I didn't care for as much in the first season, and that was mainly Joyce, who's Will's mom, who's played by Winona Ryder, who does phenomenal. And then Steve Harrington, who kind of seemed like a douchebag in season 1 in the beginning, but as it turned out at the end of season 1 and throughout the rest, he's pretty genuine, even though he's still like a generic, like he's not a generic, but he's a high school guy that likes girls.
Yeah, I mean, typically, like, back then,
he's the cool. I wouldn't say he's the jock, but he's like the cool kid.
He's a cool bad guy.
Well,
but he's not.
Yeah,
though.
he seems like it because you think he's just trying to get Nancy's pants.
Yeah,
which he was, but not. Yeah, he was, but it turned like he actually liked her. It wasn't just that.
Yeah, which is cool.
And he actually, and I guess I'll go first for my first question. Steve was actually my favorite character in this season. Steve Harrington, because he had the thing, like, he clearly cares about Nancy a lot. And as the season went on and they were separated, you saw his interactions with other characters, specifically with Dustin, when those two, and I thought they were such a phenomenal pair because he's like the most adorable kid to me in this show. That when they were talking about girls and he was talking about Nancy, that he legitimately cares for her. But he feels like to him, he doesn't want to push anything because he feels like if he pushes it, he's going to lose whatever he has with Nancy. But the most important thing for me with Steve is he cares about these kids so much. And he legitimately felt like it was his job to protect them because he knows what has he knows what happened last year or last season. And he takes personal responsibility for that. So that Steve is my favorite character for this. Also, his hair is phenomenal. That should be my favorite character on those. His hair is so good. Mine's good.
Yeah, it's like the it reminds me of the obviously that style back then, but similar to Dragon Ball Z hair, where it's like just crazy and like how do you get
so
like that?
Beautiful, though. Farrah Fawcett's great. Is the answer.
All right, so my favorite character in the season was actually Dustin. Was Dustin? He reminded me so much of myself when, like, I feel like that's who I would be if I wasn't, if I wasn't like scared of society, what society thought. like the jokes he makes, how he acts, like his whole
with these curls, highly resistant curls.
Yeah, exactly. Like he has no like
he's great. He's so authentic.
Yeah.
He's such an authentic person.
Yeah.
And honestly, all of them are, he's the most. He's the most sure of himself.
Genuine.
Yes.
He's genuine, and he doesn't like let outside forces sway him. Which, unfortunately, I have that. I guess a drawback, but he's fantastic. Like I love that about him. I love his like even his connect like how he sees things. He sees like the best in people. Which I also relate to myself, and we see this when he sees the best in his little, and exactly in Dart. Like Dart is purely
and
evil.
You would have done the same thing. That's you. I thought the same thing. I was like, God, Jesus Christ, that's Ali. That's just like this thing is gonna. And I would have been Mike. I would have been like, no, this needs to go. This will kill us. It's gonna grow up and eat us.
Yeah. And even at the end, if he proves that like, he was right though. Like he had reason to. Somewhat believe in it.
Sure. Yeah, like it turned out. I think it turned out okay. I still don't think he was right, but I'll just agree to disagree for this one.
Okay, well, Dart let him through. He gave Dart some nougat. He let him through. Yeah. I thought Dustin is amazing. Even at the end there, like
oh my God,
it made me sad.
I want to talk about him, but yeah, go ahead.
It made me so sad that he was going around and looking for a dance, and everyone was turning him down. But then Nancy is like, "Hey, I got you." Yeah, became a hero, and she's like, "Girls this age are stupid." I just loved it. It was fantastic.
Yeah. So a couple of notes on that. One, I totally agree. I think Dustin was great. Like I said, I think the Dustin and Steve pair is so good. Those were like my favorite moments.
Yeah, at the end they became like such good buddies that
he drove him to the little dance
and helped with his hair,
and his hair looked adorable.
Yeah,
he looked so he's so freaking cute. But it's like
it was awesome.
Oh my God, that encompassed because like you're told like when you're little, and a lot of little boys struggle with confidence because frequently girls mature quicker, and I'm obviously speaking as a former 13-year-old boy myself. It's so tough to be like, oh, I like this girl. Well, I want to ask her to dance or ask her on a date. And you're told, oh, just be confident, just be yourself. Yeah, and then that keeps happening. You keep being yourself. And how many times you have to get shut down before you just lose that confidence? And in that scene at the very end, you saw him do that. Because like you said, he's so sure of himself and just comfortable in his own skin, which is so awesome. But even at the end, he was just beaten down from rejection, and it like broke my heart. I
think it's all of us. Yeah, because we can all relate. So much. Like, honestly, totally we can all relate. None of us had. None of us, but the vast majority of us did not have Nancy to save us. Yeah, so we all could relate, and we're like, "Come on, man, get back up."
Yeah.
So
I loved the end scene. The 1 month later. And normally I hate that in shows. Because I'm like, no, just end it at the end of the story. We don't need to see what happens 1 month later, 1 year later, 5 years later. Just let it end. It's fine. I'm okay knowing where these characters ended up if this is the end of the story. I don't need to see like where they are now. That being said, the fact that all of these characters, and it wasn't just the little kids, it was all of them. The adults, the high school kids, and the younger kids had this legitimate, like I said, shared trauma where they went through this terrible thing all together twice. And I like to see that they're okay and they're trying to go on with their lives and they're trying to make things normal, I think is really important to this story. Like that scene was actually really long. It was like 10 minutes long. The 1 month later scene at the very end.
Yeah.
But it felt necessary and it felt appropriate. Like it didn't feel out of place. It didn't feel like it was forced in there. And obviously you had the thing at the very end where it showed the shadow monster and the Upside Down that's still watching over them. Setting up for season 3, obviously. But even before that, it just felt natural to see these kids happy and in their natural habitat and acting like themselves, which is phenomenal. And the kids are also great. All of them are great.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The only odd thing about the season that was really odd was when 11 met 8.
The whole... And we were talking before the show. Like, don't you just think that whole episode 7, where it was just 11's episode, was just like, what was that? What was that about?
I don't know. It's out of place. Maybe it was setting up for season 3, but even still, like, just have that in season 3. Like, it made me not like 8. I didn't like her character. The episode she was in a city. I didn't like it. Like even the characters, the group that 8 was with, I don't like either. None of them really stood out. Like it just, I don't know. Not for me. I just didn't really.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't for me either. I think for a couple different reasons. Part of the charm of this show is it's a small town where you have these connections between people, and not just the main characters, but like everybody in the town. And that's kind of what makes the show go. It's about Hawkins, Indiana, and all the things that are going on in that town. And 11 is, I think, in the first season was by far like the most popular character. And they were really kind of banking on her to carry this episode on her own. Because you meet these characters that she meets when she goes to Pittsburgh, the very first scene of the entire show, like episode 1. So they're trying to set this up for these people to be important. And
yeah,
I didn't care. And not only did I didn't care, I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I understand that you're trying to make this greater point about finding 11's past, and she's going on this journey of self-discovery, but I didn't care about I didn't care about any of those characters. And I felt like it was like a test to see. It's like, oh, is this something people want to see? Like if this episode is taken well, then maybe this will be a different show of all these other kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I kind of hope not either. Like, oh my gosh, like I wouldn't watch it. Like I'm not interested.
No, either.
The characters weren't enduring, and it made me, I don't want to say it made me care about 11 less, but it was like, I kind of already got a sense of who she was. Like, I didn't learn anything about her this whole season, honestly.
Well, no, but I loved who she was. And then, like, her getting associated with that group was like, please don't stay with them. Like, it's going to change who you are. And I don't change. Yeah. Like, please go back.
All of the best scenes with her were the scenes between 11 and Jim Hopper, I thought.
Yeah. Jim was great.
He's great. And that guy is I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he's a fantastic actor too. Really the whole main cast is fantastic. Jim Hopper's great. He's so real because he's like he clearly has like anger issues, but he is his like automatic instinct at all times is to protect.
It's to defend, yeah. Like even he says kid a lot. He's like, I got you, kid, or he like
he loves all of those people legitimately, like from the bottom of his heart. And I don't think those aren't words that he would say out of his mouth.
No, but you can tell.
But he loves all of those kids. He loves 11. He loves Joyce. Just
there's a reason people say actions speak louder than words, and Jim Hopper is by far shows that.
Yes,
so.
And it was, I don't know, it was great. It was great. He was great all around.
I actually got upset when Jim Hopper was trying to like punish 11, and she threw a tantrum. And I was like,
he's
child.
And you understand as an adult and as a father that he is literally every single thing he's doing and saying is exclusively for her benefit, and he hates it as much as she does.
Yes, absolutely. Like, he's trying, and he's really trying. You can tell by what he's doing. He actually ends up doing the paperwork at the end, but like, even when the world's tearing apart, he goes back into that building. He's like, "Hey, when this is all said and done, make her basically like clear her, make her citizen,
Yeah.
like make her normal."
And he gets the
the world's falling apart.
And Dr. Owens is able to give like basically like a fake birth certificate where he's her dad, which is great.
Yes, as the world's falling apart. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Yeah.
A few other characters I want to touch on. I cannot remember his name, but it's like the new family, the kid Max, who I thought was fine, and then her crazy brother, who was like this season's Steve Harrington, but he's like evil, so he's like Steve-ul.
Sure.
He was like a complete psychopath, though.
Yeah, which learn why.
I knew you were going to say that. Where does the cycle end?
What?
Where do you break the cycle? Whose fault is it that he's a complete jerk?
I just said you learn where it came
his
from.
dad.
I'm not saying it's justified. Yeah, I'm not saying it's justified by any means. Like, I'm just saying you see, like, why he's like that. Obviously, he can end the cycle, and he should end the cycle. But like, you see that, like, he's obviously still young too. He's not that old.
He's probably 18.
He's a teenager. Yeah, if that. He's probably younger than that.
Maybe. Either way, he's in high school. He goes
to school. Yeah, exactly. Like, if he's 18, he's max 18, right? So, he's still young. Like, obviously, he's one that
he's a literal psychopath. Like, he was probably going to kill Lucas because he was racist.
Yeah. He was a douchebag.
Yeah, full extent of the word.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't even really get what's coming to him either. That's the thing, is like, I didn't feel vindicated. Like, yeah, he got knocked out by Max with some medicine, essentially. Some drugs.
Yeah.
But that was it. After he beat the crap out of Steve.
Yeah. Right, but is he a character you want to die? Really?
Yes.
I do not. Like, I don't like him, but I still don't want him to die. Like, I feel like I still like hope that he corrects his ways.
I think he's beyond redemption. I think he's rotten to the core. I think he's a bad person.
I think this is the dust enemy. I'm just seeing whatever light he has left. I'm hoping he can change it.
This is the biggest difference from us. I think he's beyond reproach. I think he's no.
I don't think he's beyond redemption.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be season 3. So, all right. Before I get to that, there's 2 more characters. I liked that the doctor. I think Dr. Owens was his name. It was nice that he was not like, you definitely thought, or I did anyway, that he was just going to be like the doctors from the first season, and ultimately like out for science and didn't care about the kids. But that wasn't the case. He was legitimately trying to help Will the best that he could. Now,
yes, with what he knew and had.
And I don't think that was the case for the rest of the people at that facility.
Oh, there you go.
No, because they were even just like, if he dies, he dies. And he's like, excuse me? Like, when they were all in that board
they're like,
meeting,
hey,
he was like,
start the fires. Yeah, exactly. We need to burn it down.
Like, absolutely not. And he legitimately, like, as it went on, like, he was like, I really want to help this kid. He's like, I'm a doctor. This is my job. And I do care about the well-being of this child. And I'm going to literally put my life on the line, which he showed at the end when they were in that in the facility, that he was willing to stay behind to make sure that everyone else was safe. So I thought that was a nice touch. And then, of course, another character, Bob Newby, which was Joyce's boyfriend. It made me sad that he died, because he was like legitimately like the nicest guy on the entire show.
He was nice and naive and innocent, all that. And it really touched me because like my girlfriend has 2 kids. She has a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. So I related with him so much, where he's trying so hard
to try to be like a good dad to these kids, and is trying to do all the right things and legitimately loves these kids so much and loves Joyce, and literally put his life on the line willingly to make sure that they were safe as well, and just couldn't make it. It just wasn't meant to be, which was...
It's crazy because, yeah, I didn't expect it, but that is just a small part that, yeah.
Yeah, I did so. So,
yeah. He was a newbie.
He was ultimately a newbie. But overall, I thought the season was great. I personally enjoyed this better than season 1. I don't know if that's going to be a popular opinion. I think a lot of people like season 1 better, but I think this season had a lot of heart, and I enjoyed all of the interactions between the characters, and I thought the acting was a little bit better. Not that it was bad in the first season, but everyone knew their role and knew what they were doing, and all the characters just cared about each other so much, and I think that was more meaningful to me to see all of that happen.
They just embrace themselves more. Like, I liked it. If nothing else, the
yeah
did it for me.
Dustin was great. He was great.
Yeah, that's it. Second season was amazing.
So where do we go from here?
Well, I think that's it for now.
For Stranger Things, where do we go from here?
Oh, what do you mean?
What happens next? The story's not done.
Oh, I don't know. Obviously, we saw the Mind Flayer at the end there, hovering over the school. I don't know. Everything is closed, but I think the Doctor is probably doing something. That's probably what they talked about in season 2. I think Papa, as Eleven calls him,
still out there,
has some plans.
Yeah, he's still out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doors are closed, gates are closed, but something's going to happen. The Demogorgon died, but the Mind Flayer is apparently not dead.
No.
Though I do hope we see a different
some
character.
Different monster. Yeah.
Yes, like Mind Flayer can be there a little bit, but I would love to see something else.
Some big singular like monster. We saw a bunch of the little dogs, the Demodogs, as Dustin called them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we saw a bunch of them, and they were kind of like the creatures for this season. But I want to see something, some sort of force that we didn't necessarily have this season. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Sure. The Mind Flayer is more a force than actual evil,
malevolent
physical thing.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, that's going to wrap up our Stranger Things discussion and this week's show. So we are going to be back in just a minute. All right, Ollie, what's up? What's up this weekend, buddy?
This weekend for me, I'm either going to be working at the Monroe Airport. They have a little sky show they do every year. Or I'm going to try to get out. And I told you at the beginning of this episode that I qualified for the 5K in Hex. But it's the same time. It's this weekend too.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do. That's it for this weekend. Like the next event I'm probably gonna go to is the one I'm excited about is gonna be Baltimore. Yep. So,
and that's the weekend after this. So we'll talk about that next week for sure because you and I are teaming up.
Yes,
with Steve Mann for that.
Yeah. We'll get into that more next weekend or next week. But this weekend is either gonna be a festival for me. But I'm hoping it's going to be a 5K instead. I'd love to play in the.
I hope you can play in that too. Hope you can break through that limited top 8. So I'm going to be this weekend at GP Atlanta, which is it's a little sad. It's Star City Games' last GP that we're able to host. So we're going to try to make it a good one. But I'm going to be there working. I'm going to be at the sales booth. But if anyone wants to have their card signed, wants to have playmat signed, wants to chat about Commander, any of that, you can find me, you can find Steven, you can find John, you can find Jeremy. We'll all be at the GP. I'm also going to try to play some Commander in between, like during my breaks with fans, if possible. I'm going to do what I can, but that's the last GP, they're always they wear me out for sure, because it's for most of the GP goers it's 3 long days, but for us it's 4 really long days, plus 8 hours of travel on each side. So it's leaving on shortly for that.
I know that can be like, in actually both ways, in SG ways and in festival ways.
Yeah.
So they're both
for
rough.
sure. Okay, well, Ali, where can people find you on the internet or in real life? Yeah, what's your address?
Address? Yeah, about that. You can find me at Aintrazi on Twitter, or Twitch at twitchtv.com/Aintrazi. My articles come out every Friday on gatheringmagic.com. You can find my stuff there. I haven't streamed much Magic lately, actually at all. I've been streaming more. Hex, but I am waiting for MTG Arena. I'm actually selling out at Magic Online very soon because I like Standard. That's what I use Magic Online for. I feel like when MTG Arena comes out, that's what I'll be using that for. So
okay.
What about you?
You can find me on Twitter mainly. You can follow me at jparnell1 on Twitter. You can also find me on the Commander Versus series on StarCityGames.com and YouTube, of course, every Wednesday. We're nearing the end of Season 9, but this is a little bit longer season. We have some really sweet stuff at the end of the season coming up. We have a very, very, very special season-ending episode, which is not the normal thing that we do. We also have our fan request episode coming up. We also have our 100th episode coming up, so you definitely do not want to miss that. So check out Commander Versus if you're Commander Versus fans. So, of course, if you want to follow the show, you can follow the show ThinkTwiceMTG on Twitter, or you can email the show thinktwicemtg@gmail.com. You can also find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on YouTube. We'd love for you to share any of those that you possibly can. Drop us a review on iTunes if you're able to, comment, and follow us on YouTube. Anything that you can do to get the show out there, the more we're able to do, the more eyeballs we have on it, makes it easier for us and better for us to grow so we can continue to give you guys more stuff. Speaking of that, in addition to sharing the show, if you're able, we would love to have your support on Patreon. You can find us patreon.com/thinktwicemtg. Right now we have 2 tiers. We have a $1 Augur Bolus tier that gets you early access to the show, and a new feature that we're doing, which is currently the $1 tier, gets you a weekly Commander deck list from me, and I'm doing a vote every week between 4 commanders. Whichever one wins, you'll get the deck list, and then we'll keep going on from that. Last week's winner was Ojutai Soul of Winter, so we're going to have a deck list for that one up very shortly. Check back on the Patreon page if you're a supporter to see what next week's is. And on our $5 Disciple Bolus tier, we actually have 2 new Patreon supporters, Scott W. and Josh L. We want to thank you guys so much. We literally could not do this show without you, and we appreciate you guys very, very much. And everybody that's supporting the show, everyone that's sharing the show, everyone that's supporting through Patreon, everyone that's supporting us by having kind words on Twitter or in person or on Reddit. Well, probably not Reddit. There's not many kind words about us on Reddit, but everywhere else. And if there are on Reddit, we appreciate that too.
I do want to say thank you too. I know Justin says it, but I also want to say thank you, especially to our Patreon supporters. You do keep us going. We are halfway to our goal of a vodcast, and it's just huge. Like, you guys allow the show to keep going. Like, honestly, if we did this day in, day out, we'd be like Dustin if we did get nothing for it. Like, if we kept getting rejected over and over again and we weren't getting anything, then it's tough.
But fortunately, you guys are supporting us, and it's you guys are awesome. Really.
Exactly. You guys are our Nancys.
Yes, you are Nancys. So if you want to be a Nancy, go to patreon.com/thinktwicemtg. As much Nancy as you possibly can Nancy. We would appreciate that.
Thank you very much, guys.
I also want to thank our director and producer, John Che, and of course our graphic designer, Amber West. Speaking of our graphic designer, she has made some awesome graphics for us for a potential vodcast when we're able to reach the support level through Patreon to be able to do that, and some nice graphics for us to start streaming. Ollie was talking about streaming earlier. When MTG Arena comes out, this is something that we plan on doing pretty full force, and that's me included. I know I plan to be playing a lot of Limited if I'm able to draft on MTG Arena. I know Ollie's going to be the standard master as he usually is. So we might have some a couple ones before that, but it may not be with MTG Arena. I may do some Hearthstone. So if you guys want to see that from me specifically, let me know at jparnell1 on Twitter. And of course, let Ollie know if you would like to see him stream anything else. We're trying to get the Thinktwice streaming banner up and going, so we would love to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, more feedback, the more we care to you. But we are also trying to take this rule of not waiting and trying to do things with executing things without waiting for you guys. But please, if you have anything you want to see or hear or do, feel free to ask.
Yep. And pretty soon we're actually going to be reaching out to our Disciple Bolus tier Patreon supporters to get some help with topics for the show, to see really what you guys want to hear about and want to get involved in the conversation about. So look for that on there as well.
Yeah. We're also going to be brainstorming new Patreon tiers. If there's anything you'd like from us, especially like as a reward tier, let us know.
Get creative.
If not, again, yeah. Even if not, we're still going to be proactive. We're going to think of our own things. But again, we're here to cater to you. Like Patreon is literally to cater to you for helping us. So if you have any suggestions, anything you want, hey, tweet at us.
Do it. We'll make the magic happen. Literally and figuratively. Yes. One last note for next week before we go. We are going to have a spoiler-filled Thor Ragnarok discussion. I saw that movie over the last weekend. It's awesome. Ollie's going to see it over this weekend. He's going to think it's awesome too. We're going to talk about it next week. You guys are also going to think it's awesome. Watch Thor Ragnarok. You got a week giving you heads up. All right. That's it for the show this week, guys. Episode 17 in the books. Ollie, as usual, I love you very, very much. You're the best co-host. You're the best co-host on this show. Hands down.
Well, you're just the best, period.
Oh, you're just the sweetest thing. All right. We love you guys, too. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. Have a good day, good night, wherever you are. Good luck, Magic events, and we'll see you next time.